In fact, Russia has launched its most intense drone and missile assault on Ukraine's capital in recent memory. Moscow fired 315 drones across Ukraine. 277 of them were shot down, but not before fires, explosions and chaos gripped Kiev. President Zelensky called it one of the largest assaults on the capital since the war started. 7 of Kiev's 10 districts were hit. High-rises, homes, cars, warehouses were engulfed in flames. Even Kiev's World Heritage Cathedral was damaged in the attacks. Loud explosions shook the city. Smoke clouded the skyline. And not just Kiev, the southern port city of Odesa was also struck. Odesa's maternity hospital and an emergency medical center were hit. 2 people were killed, at least 9 injured. What triggered this renewed escalation from Russia is the immediate question. Well, Ukraine's daring June 1 attacks on Russia. You see, Russia's renewed wave of aerial attacks follows Ukraine's cross-border raid that destroyed Russian strategic bombers at 5 air bases deep inside Russian territory. Moscow says these new strikes are retaliatory, in what many see as a calibrated response to what Moscow called Ukraine's terrorist actions. And Ukraine's Air Force confirmed that in addition to drones, Russia launched 2 KN-23 ballistic missiles, 5 Iskander-K cruise missiles. All of them were reportedly intercepted, but the damage from the Russian drone swarm alone was widespread. And in Kiev, emergency services battled blazes all night.
They are targeting civilians. They are fighting against us, against civilians. They don't fight in the open. Who are they killing? Children, women and the elderly. Who are they killing? Who are they fighting? What else can be said?
Meanwhile, in Odesa, maternity patients were safely evacuated, but the building was left in ruins. According to Ukrainian officials, over the last 7 days, Russia has launched 1,451 drones, 78 missiles across the country. But Monday and Tuesday's assault might be just the beginning. In an interview to RT, Putin's aide and Russia's top negotiator Vladimir Medinsky was quoted issuing a chilling warning. He claimed Russian citizens are demanding harsher action, including missile strikes on Kyiv and Lviv, using the feared Oreshnik IRBM. He said, and I'm quoting here, "Our citizens demand much harsher actions from us to strike Kyiv and Lviv with Oreshnik. Enough negotiations," quote unquote. And he added that Ukraine's attacks on June 1 had made it difficult for Russian diplomats to even attend the peace talks in Istanbul that day. Remember, the Oreshnik is a ballistic missile variant of Russia's RS-26, and it was first fired in November 2024, weighing 40 tons, carrying 6 independent re-entry vehicles. It's nuclear capable and engineered for devastation. Now, just pay attention to the parts that Medinsky referenced. Kiev, central Ukraine; Lviv, far west, right on the border with NATO member Poland. And the question is Medinsky's statement just war rhetoric? Or is Russia warning that the battlefield could expand towards NATO's doorstep? 3 years into the war, peace talks that had started a few weeks ago now feel further than ever. Ukraine's strikes have rattled the Kremlin. Russia's response has scorched Ukrainian cities. And if these devastating attacks on Ukraine are not enough, the threat of Oreshnik attacks loom large on Ukraine. Former India captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni has been inducted into the ICC Hall of Fame. He is one of the 7 cricketers who have been recognized for their contribution to the sport by the global cricket body. Dhoni's international career spanned 14 illustrious years. Debuting as a flamboyant wicketkeeper with long hair, he evolved in one of the sharpest minds in world cricket. Dhoni remains the only captain to win all 3 ICC white ball trophies: the 50-over World Cup, the T20 World Cup and the Champions Trophy. And under his leadership, India also rose to number 1 in the ICC Test rankings in the late 2000s. Individually, Dhoni played 350 ODIs, 90 Test matches, 98 T20Is for India, scoring over 17,000 international runs. And behind the stumps, he was a phenomenon with 829 dismissals to his name. The other inductees into the ICC Hall of Fame, including Australian legend and two-time ODI World Cup winner Matthew Hayden. In a career spanning 16 years, Hayden represented Australia in 273 matches across formats and scored over 15,000 runs. South African duo Hashim Amla and Graham Smith have also been inducted, and with his elegant cover drives and trademark leg side flicks, Amla dominated bowling attacks for much of his 15-year career. Smith, meanwhile, represented South Africa in 347 matches across formats, scoring over 17,000 international runs. He was also one of the most successful Test captains in history. Former New Zealand captain Daniel Vettori also making it to the list. One of the finest all-rounders in cricket, Vettori is among the few to score 4,000 runs and take 300 wickets in Test cricket. He also led New Zealand to the final of the ICC Champions Trophy in 2009. Former Pakistan captain Sana Mir has become the first woman cricketer from the country to be inducted into the ICC Hall of Fame. The former off-spinner, who represented Pakistan for around 15 years, is the 8th Pakistani cricketer to make the list. And the last name on the list is former England women's wicketkeeper batter Sarah Taylor. Taylor played a major role in helping England win the double of the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup and ICC Women's T20 World Cup in 2009. Ten people have been killed after a suspected shooter opened fire at a school in Austria. The shooter is among those killed, reportedly. The Austrian Chancellor has declared 3 days of national mourning following the attack, which was reportedly carried out by a former student of the school.
During 3 days of national mourning, the whole of Austria will remember the victims of this tragedy. The Austrian flag will be flown at half-mast on all public buildings, and tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. A minute's silence will be observed across the country in silent remembrance of the victims of this terrible act.
According to the police, the 21-year-old attacker killed himself. The officials said that they were working on the assumption that the attacker had operated alone and his motive remains unknown. The police added that the area where the shooting took place had been secured and relatives of the victims and students are taken care of.
The situation has now been secured to the extent that there is no longer any danger to the rest of the population, but we do have several fatalities.
These are images of the police and ambulances near the school in southeastern Austria where the spine-chilling incident took place. And following the incident, condolences poured in from across Europe. EU top diplomat declared herself deeply shocked by reports of the shooting. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said, and I'm quoting, "The news touches my heart." Listen in.
Der Tod unschuldiger Kinder.
Schools are symbols of hope for the future and for young people. It is incredibly difficult to bear when schools become places of violence and death. I mourn with Austria today.
Bei den Verletzten und ihren Freunden und Angehörigen.
This is not the first time such an incident has taken place. In fact, in February this year, a stabbing incident left a teenager dead, injured 5 others in southern Austria. According to Austria's interior minister, the suspect, a 23-year-old Syrian asylum seeker, had been radicalized online in a short span of time. In October last year, a mayor was shot dead along with another person in an apparent dispute over hunting rights. The suspect was a 56-year-old man. In another such incident, in November 2020, a 20-year-old gunman described by Austrian authorities as an Islamist terrorist killed 4 people and injured more than 20 others. Ships of the Indian Coast Guard are out there at the sea off Kerala battling a deadly blaze on a cargo ship. And this is just another day at work for India's sentinels of the sea. From search and rescue to protecting the marine environment and enforcing law at sea, the Coast Guard is the true protector of Indian waters. Over the last 36 hours, this cargo ship has been on fire. Shipping containers are exploding. Its crew abandoned the ship. The blaze is raging and the ship is adrift. The Singapore-flagged container ship is off the coast of Kerala. For more than 24 hours, a massive rescue effort and firefighting operation is underway. Working together, the Indian Coast Guard and Indian Navy have rescued 18 of 22 crew. 4 crew members are missing. Efforts are on to locate them. Meanwhile, Coast Guard and Navy ships are using their onboard equipment to spray massive quantities of water to control the blaze. In India's exclusive economic zone, the Indian Coast Guard maintains a strict visual while also saving lives. Exclusive economic zone is the region that extends 370 kilometers from a country's shores. India's exclusive economic zone spans more than 2 million square kilometers. Every single day, the Indian Coast Guard deploys up to 60 ships and 12 aircraft to monitor and protect India's vast maritime domain. Beyond this, the Coast Guard provides search and rescue in a region spanning 4.6 million square kilometers. From protecting marine life to combating oil and chemical spills at sea to curbing drug smuggling, the Indian Coast Guard plays a vital role, to say the least. At present, the Indian Coast Guard has a fleet of over 150 ships and more than 70 aircraft. WION's principal correspondent, Siddharth MP, summarizes for you the highlights of the Indian Coast Guard's efforts.
Over the last 5 decades, the Indian Coast Guard has saved more than 11,700 lives at sea. This includes mariners, fishermen, and those in distress at sea. Further, the Indian Coast Guard also undertakes anti-narcotics operations, and they have seized more than 50,000 crores worth of contraband over the years. The Indian Coast Guard also plays a crucial benign role in protecting marine life. In this year alone, they helped in the nesting of more than 7 lakh olive ridley turtles off India's coast. Let's also remember that the Indian Coast Guard is a force that is rapidly expanding. By the end of this decade, the force hopes to have at least 200 ships and 100 aircraft to protect India's exclusive economic zone and interests in the exclusive economic zone. From Chennai, Siddharth MP, WION, World is One.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.